Hello and welcome to Intuitive Clarifications with Natasha. And Regan's here. He's just, we're like usual technology problems and life happening. So we're going to let him get settled a little bit. But, I'm so excited to have everyone here who's going to be showing up and who's not here yet. And what we're going to talk about today was why is some lives harder than others? Because the fact that, we all wonder why lives are harder for some and easier for others. And so I'm going to pop Regan in here. Are you ready, Regan? Okay, here we go.
Are you only seeing the top of my head?
Yep, just about here. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Hi. Hello, Veronica says. Thank you for waiting patiently for us. This is why we were a little bit late because life happens and then we do it. And, it's like, why get frustrated with, and that might be kind of the experience of why we're doing the show today of, why is life harder for some than others? It's because how do we negotiate the things that are in front of us? And some of us, if you're listening on a podcast later or whatever, it's just, it's like Regan right now is fiddling with his computer or his, he couldn't log on his computer because it said no mic or no audio or visual. And so now he's on his phone, but his phone's not wanting to stay put. It keeps wanting to fall off. So, it's like, why is life harder for some and not for others? It's like, because it's how we perceive things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hi, Regan. So good to see you.
Natasha. Yeah. Well, since we're just starting there, I know you being a very well-known medium that's helped me through a lot of challenges in my life. And me working for the Newton Institute, I'll just mention, of course, to people who might be seeing this for the first time or will watch it at a later time, because you always post these, don't you? So if people like the show, they can go to see. You probably have, I don't know, would you have a couple hundred up there now?
Yeah, there it depends on the show. It's like sometimes there's over 100 that watch. There's sometimes on the podcast now I've got over 1,000 downloads on my podcast. So
wow,
I'm getting it's things are getting more out there. Oh, hallelujah, because that's what I want is not necessarily to be famous, but just to bring some awarenesses of perceptions to help people out. And so if anybody wants to share this, if anybody wants to tell people about it, I'm so grateful whenever that is. And so, I'm just here to support people and bring light into this world. That's my whole intention. And then if I get followers because of that, I am so blessed.
Yeah, same with, and me, I work with the Newton Institute and we're doing afterlife research. We've trained about 250 of us and we're in 45 countries now doing research on what happens when you pass away. Where do you go? And what do you do while you're there, before you decide if you're going to come back again or not. And we've pretty much, our published research is, there's 1 million copies out there now, and we found out hundreds of things about the afterlife. So what I do is I help people get in a deep state of relaxation. And when they're in that deep state, everybody seems to turn into kind of like a medium, like you, only you don't need to sleep. You just have it right there. The rest of us, we need to kind of put ourselves in an altered state, that way. And in that state, we're able to access the afterlife, where you can spend hours over there visiting people that have passed on, talking to the higher selves of people still alive in your life, getting all your questions answered by a counsel over there. And it's pretty much life-changing for a lot of people. So Natasha and I are doing similar work, just from different perspective. Way.
Or different outlets, you get it from maybe the right side, I get it from the left side, or whatever works that way. It's like, but that's why we're all intuitive too, is that everybody has a different way of negotiating their intuition, or that gut feeling, or that, woman's knowing, or, that man's like, I don't think I should do that, type of feeling. It's like whatever we have, it comes from their own way. And sometimes I say, can I glean, or can I just kind of piggyback on a little bit of that knowing on how they get it, but it's all about practice. And that's the thing is that I heard my team and my gifts in a different way when I was a teenager than I do now,
Yeah.
because it's a journey of with my team to negotiate what I'm doing. But, and that's the thing is that a lot of us, we've been taught so much in our younger years to disbelieve. And that's another reason why so many lives are harder is because we've been taught so much on the let's take it harder side.
Yeah. And I think I can help with what you've learned and I've learned by doing this work. A lot of my clients that come to me, I can't believe just how, especially even just as a regular hypnotherapist, and you would not tell by just looking at somebody what they're going through, but people
Mhm.
are going just everything you can imagine of roadblocks, and it seems that some people don't have as many roadblocks as others, and some people just have a roadblock every time they turn around. But one thing we've learned when we have people on the other side, most of the time people find out that they've chosen these roadblocks to go through,
Mhm.
because they knew that by going through what they go through down here, it's like going to a graduate course in college where you learn really the greater things that you didn't get to learn, from your, from the other education that you had. So when people on the other side, for instance, I had a client who had a very difficult father. He was like a drill sergeant to her all the time, never hugged her, never told her he loved her. But she knew she somehow sensed that he cared for her, but he never showed it, and people
Mhm.
like to be shown, and so she was always trying to please her father, and he passed on before she was an adult and they could do, maybe change that later. So she's on the other side and she's talking to him and he explained to her, he says, "Daughter, you don't know how hard that was for me to play that role of being that militaristic father for you. But what you don't remember is that we agreed that I was going to come down and be that way because you needed to learn to be a strong woman. You'd been always codependent in so many relationships and you never stood up for yourself, and you said, hey, let's come down there. And because of your toughness on me, I'm going to learn to be that." And she realized, wow, that's the way she'd become. She was good with boundary setting. She was,
Mhm.
being able to maneuver through life in a very powerful way that she didn't realize, So then, since he's in the afterlife and she's there, I was quiet for a little bit, and she spent some time with him. And when she said she was done, and I had her speak up what they talked about, and she put on the recording. And she says, it was so nice because I've spent this 15, 20 minutes with the father that I always wished I'd had, and he was holding,
Oh.
she was crying, I mean, she said, now, I says, when I think of my dad, that's who I see. I see that actor that was playing that part in my life, who sacrificed, a lot of his self to come down and be that so that I could grow and learn, you know. So when you're helping people, like when someone's coming to you and they have a tough issue, sometimes what you see, do you see that too? Do you see that the reasons for what they're going through, or how does that work with you when you have someone going through something tough?
I do a lot of times see that. It depends on what's in front of me and what we're talking about and that kind of thing, because sometimes it's hard to grasp everything at one time. But like I explained to people that we have this plan coming in to learn these experiences, to learn these knowings, and to do this dance. And then you come in to a family that it's kind of like you have this perfect stew that you've made before you come into this world of an idea and a knowing and all this kind of stuff. And then when you come in, you get a mom that has this story, and you get a dad that has that story. And then they add a little extra salt and a little extra pepper and a little bit of extra potatoes or a little extra, oregano that you don't like, and then you get all these different flavors. And then your stew that you made for this world isn't what you wanted.
Yeah,
You know, and because you got the humanness that got put into your perfect stew. And
yeah,
anybody who's watching right now, Regan is on his phone, and because he couldn't log in right. So we apologize if the timing is off with his phone. But it's one of those things that as we're going forward, you know, that we have to have these experiences to do something. There's a reason why, even if we're living the matrix, even if we're all these different understandings are coming in, why in this lifetime do I have this scenario that is happening? Why in this lifetime do I have to do this, this, and this, and this? Well, we all have these experiences that we wanted to accomplish. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, I wanted to shine my light in spite of the journey that's in between. And, for me, shining my life, I chose a husband with alcoholism and, and kind of a narcissistic energy about him, which Leos can kind of tendency to get that. And then I, chose to be shy and quiet when I first was born, and, and all these different, and then death and rebirth of life and that kind of stuff. So I had these experiences more than that, but that's the highlight to get to, no matter what happens outside my world, I'm going to be my light. And I'm getting closer. I can tell I'm getting closer because I'm less reactionary to the world around me, instead
Mm-hmm.
of and more at peace with the interactions that I have with me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when you know that you're starting to do your life purpose, or your life, what is my life purpose to be here? And sometimes it's a personal thing, to shine my own light. What is my life calling to do is to help others. And so going into this, that when we're in that moment where we're finding our life purpose, many times we get these bumping moments with other people and all these different things to kind of get us to say, I can persevere through this.
Mm-hmm. I know. And now sometimes what we find out too, that sometimes people's lives are a little bit difficult because it's payback time, and they're working off some karma. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
know, an example of that I've used on the show, but it's the perfect example of that nurse that I had was a client. And she worked in a hospital where doctors would rotate. And there was this one doctor that was always emotionally cruel to her, so much so that she'd have panic attacks before going into work, because she says, I don't even know this guy, but he is so cruel to me. And he always does it when nobody else is looking. So I can't turn him into human resources, no witnesses. He says, but I just feel so horrible and I'm scared around him. So I have her in trance. She's before counsel in heaven and the afterlife. And the first question she had is, why is she calls him Dr. Rotten Man, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so cruel to me. And they said one sentence to her, and then they moved on. They said, you were very cruel to him in another lifetime, and she's in trance and she grimaces like, oh, like, I don't want to hear that. But afterwards, we talked about it, and she says, so Regan, I didn't want to think that I'd ever be as mean to someone as he's been mean to me, even in another lifetime. But I explained to her a lot of times, we didn't get to where we are, but we didn't come out of the womb as perfect human beings. We came in with not, perfectly imperfect, as you like to call it, and
Mm-hmm.
working on new things. So I talked to her months later, and she says, Regan says, I don't know what happened, but I mean, I never said a thing to him because I don't even really know him. I didn't want to go up to him and say, hey, come on and be mean to me because now you're getting even with me for being mean to you in another lifetime. But she said, he just never pays attention to me now. He's never said anything. She says, and I've just calmed down. So I think something energetically changed with her, that she maybe took on some responsibility or something and thought, wow, maybe I'm just getting this back because of something, and maybe now it's all cleared or something, but it turned out to be okay. So sometimes we've chosen these life lessons, and I think even so, you've chosen to come down to work off some karma you have with somebody else, in this lifetime. So that's good. So how would you, like, Natasha, somebody comes to you, a client, and they got this huge roadblock, like maybe some kind of illness they're going through or something, and what kind of advice do you give to them? Is it different with everyone, or is there kind of
It,
a
it really it really is different for everyone, because sometimes an illness is something that they've brought on shame and guilt for themselves.
Mhm,
Sometimes an illness is something that, like I could have taken on my parents' story of their illnesses, which I've chosen not to.
mhm,
And then, or, there's this pre-thought that, I'm not going to live forever. Even just thinking that I'm not living forever, cancel, clear, delete that, because I am living for as long as I can live in this body as healthy as I can. going forward, that sometimes just making a statement somewhere, I don't know how long I'm going to live, just that, cancel, clear, delete that, just that kind of statement can age or put something in us that kind of goes, oh, here's a crossroads of a time when I'm supposed to leave the planet, that I have a choice to leave the planet. Here's another time that I can leave the planet. And when we cross those timelines, that sometimes when we cross those timelines, that there's something that we do or say that makes us question, do we really want to be here? And then we get into that problem of that's when the body starts saying, oh, I can help and assist with that. Because you find sometimes where somebody will come down with an illness, let's say 3 years ago, like, something starts up 3 years ago, and at that 2-year mark, they're like, but I really want to stay here. But 3 years ago, 5 years ago, they were really questioning if they wanted to be here still. And it's not that we have to worry about, questioning on a day or something, but it's that really deep questioning. Do I really want to stay here? And many a times, if we don't have the tools and the understandings, and we don't get into that greater health process with our food and doing that kind of thing, that a lot of times that we what's the word, that we don't find harmony with our body, and our body says, okay, you plan this, here's an exit point, because we all have about 5 or 10 exit points on this planet. It
Mhm.
depends on the person, could be more, could be less, but we all have exit points. And if that idea meets up with an exit point, well, sometimes that's the reality that comes forward, and we end up leaving this planet. That's what
Yeah.
happened with COVID a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. So if somebody has all those exit ones, how do they, let's say now they didn't want to live at one point, now they do. So how do they change that program so that the new program comes in where they actually leave at a different time than what they thought they were going to leave? Or how does someone change that?
Well, what you can do is that you're very self-aware. And I know for me, like, let's say go back when my mom was sick with Lou Gehrig's disease, and I knew that year, that if I didn't have an attitude of being a caretaker, and have the attitude that I still wanted to be here 3 years later, because a lot of caretakers, they end up getting ill and sick 3 to 6 years later, because they've given so much of themselves, and they've drained themselves, and their adrenals are shot, their cortisol level is so high, and they're not taking good care of themselves and this kind of stuff. And their body says, okay, I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear you. And so with me, and as I'm talking about this, my liver area is kind of aching. And so, okay, let me see how I can negotiate, my liver a little bit with the emotions and the story to help myself through this, because I'm still working through a lot of my family's illnesses, that energetically and emotionally, because I am done being my family story. And that's one thing that you can be very definite. I am done with my family story. I'm done with my story, that da 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 da. I'm done with that story and I'm replacing myself with love and guidance, amazing healing abilities to negotiate my story. And there's ways of negotiating this, but what do we believe in?
Yeah.
That's the thing, is if we put all our belief in the medical system, we're not going to be much more than the medical system. If we only believe in the holistic side of things, we're only going to be that good of that holistic. But if we combine a lot of different things and get into a truth, and this is what we're going through right now, is discerning a lot of truths.
Yeah. So today, as it just happened, as I mentioned to begin with, I have a client that's in my office now that's going through a difficult time in her life with a health issue, and I don't want to tell you exactly what it is in that way. And but I thought she's doing a 2-hour treatment with the Monocore right now, which is, the more I know about this healing machine, Natasha, the more magnificent. It's really going deep now. We're doing this thing now where new protocol where it goes into the brain and the whole body, shows how many blockages you have, and then that does a treatment. And today she had 36 blockages and it unblocked all but one. So 30, it shows at places on the body where all these blockages were. Now she just had one. So that's it's opening the body so the body can get in there and heal itself. But I was thinking, because she's laying back and relaxing and has the electrodes on her now, listening to what's going on, and just to protect her, to make an anonymous here or something. I don't know if there's anything you can do or see for her. There's certain things in
Yeah, so going into this, because I'm seeing this moment where where she's about 6 years old, and I'm seeing that at her 6-year-old mark, and this might be part of that block that didn't get worked on, that she went in and there was something that triggered the unworthiness. Now she can apply another word to that word of unworthiness. May have been untruth. There was an untruth that didn't fit right for her. That there was something that was, and it was an energy that she, as a young person, that's the thing, is there's a lot of us that we hear things that go on, but we were so young that we would think we know something. Oh, my parents are fighting about money. No, they were fighting about, listening to each other. Right. And so we totally gleaned off of that conversation, totally something different. But in her, it triggered this devaluing. It was like, well, what am I worth now? Since this other thing is going on, what am I worthy of? And when we start believing somewhere that we're unworthy, and it could be just it could be just the very smallest grain of seed of thought that pops in, that then other, it's kind of like a magnet, then other pieces of grain of salt start adding into that, and then starts adding into it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so looking at that, and so what I have said in my mantras or my affirmations is that I am done with any and all unhealthy stories in this life and others.
I'm done with any unhealthy stories.
Any unhealthy stories in this life and others. And I'm receiving light, love, and understanding with healing in my life right now.
Okay. In other words, I'm letting go of any unhealthy stories that I have in my consciousness from this life, from any other lives. And I'm now, what was the last part you said? I'm now receiving.
And I'm receiving health and light and love.
Something to that effect. In other words,
something to that effect, something of your, and you can change the words, it's the done. And so done with XYZ, whatever that is. And I'm receiving the opposite.
What about too? Can she say, I am worthy, I am worthy, I'm worthy, or something too? Or I'm worthy?
Yeah, there's something about saying I'm done.
Yeah, that's good. I'm done.
There is something about saying I am done. I am freaking done with this, that, and the other. And I'm receiving. And I know that for me, when I've rewritten contracts, and I've rewritten, stories like that when I've said I am done and I am receiving, miracles have happened.
So that's what happens sometimes when people have addictions and things, and they finally get to the very bottom, isn't it? And they go, I'm done with this. And that's a big turnaround right there.
I'm done. But remembering though, that we have to fill it in with something else. If you're done with something, you need to fill it in with something else, because otherwise the universe is going to fill it in.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is a good teaching thing for people watching about how mediums work too. So for instance, you're picking up on that, even though I didn't tell you her name. She's not looking at you directly and talking to you, but you're just picking up. How are you picking that up in your mind of this just call her Mary.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Okay.
I, it's like we're talking, and then through something, this picture of a 6-year-old girl, kind of like parents are in the kitchen and she's in the front room, and I get this image a lot. And so this is my image, that something happened that was in disharmony to her understanding.
Younger. Mhm.
And so this is one of those cliche images that I have gotten. I've gotten it for a lot of people, but I'm getting that it's part of the language, that it's a key for the age, and something happened outside in of her world, that she heard something or felt something that was off to her frequency, and that frequency caused a disharmony in her.
Would that attract people in her life that wouldn't respect her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would give her an, like, I'm not worthy of respect. I'm not worthy of I'm unworthy of being cherished. I'm unworthy of being loved for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
For who I am. And I'm gonna give an example here, that my husband and I, we are 32 years married. Him being the alcoholic he's been for a lot of those years. I was married to an alcoholic, drug addicted person before him. And the other night, he looked at me and he said, "I love you." And the look in his eyes and the feeling I got was he loved me from being Natasha. Not that I've cooked, dinner for him, not all these other things.
Yeah.
He finally said,
Hmm.
"I love you." And the
Wow.
first words out of my mouth was, "I don't know if I can receive that." Because there was a part of me that set up cautionary things, cautionary walls. And I'm looking in that at why I can't receive that, back to even my childhood. And I'm like going, whoa, those are some walls that I put up. I don't wonder how those walls came up.
Wow.
And it was actually, I think, walls from even past lives and different understandings, now that I'm even looking deeper into it. And so we have these things that set us up for lack of success, so that we can break down those walls, break down those stories, break down those consciousnesses, to be our greater selves and to shine our light no matter what. Because I know from me, my husband, love him. He's been my greatest teacher, but he's been my greatest naysayer in my life.
Yeah.
And so now for him to say, "I love you for you,"
Mm,
whoo,
that's awesome.
it's a miracle. It's a miracle. And we've talked about it a day or two later now, because life was busy and him going to bed early and it wasn't the right time to talk about it. But we talked about it last night, and he went, "Yeah, yeah," and it really like set him up for really what he said.
Yeah. Well, see, this was great that you shared that with him too, because then he has this learning experience too, doesn't he?
Yeah,
You
that it's okay to be vulnerable with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's great. Okay. Now, um, I don't know if you can pick this up or not, and it's not. I'm not putting. I don't mean to put you on the spot if you see something or not. But this illness that she has, I've seen her. I've seen her become in the last year, or about it's that I've seen her become a different person. She become more soft and sweet and kind. And I think because she's going through this serious illness, it's really had her look at life a whole different way. Life has gotten real.
Yeah, exactly.
That way. And she expresses that she's got a couple of teenagers, she wants to be there for them. And we don't know what she decided to do to come down and go through, if she's going to leave early or if she's going to be around for a while. When she was on the other side, her angels told her that they wouldn't give her a definite, but they said, well, you could beat this. But they didn't. But they told her she had to give love to the cancer, not fear, not hate, that sort of thing. She had to start looking at life more glass half full instead of half empty, kind of thing. And she's
Hmm.
doing that. But can you pick up anything at all, or do you not have enough information, or would you have to talk to her in person to see what you see about this illness? Maybe why she has it, or you think she's going to beat this thing and be around for a while?
I'm getting that she has this opportunity to do this. She has this opportunity. There is ways of negotiating it. And what I'm getting is that she's got to go in deep though and really figure out. There is a lot of knowledge that is coming through a lot of cancers and a lot of disharmony in the body because of metals and pesticide and like worms and the parasites. That's the word I was looking for.
Interesting. Right now, you know what she's on right now? She's on a parasite cleanse right now.
Yeah. So once she gets her body more cleansed, but the one thing that and this is one thing that another story, sometimes I have to tell my stories. I apologize. But there was one thing that somebody brought in some fresh basil to the school the other day. And I felt this irritation in the back of my throat. And, it was like, I was like, irritation in the back. Why am I having irritation in the back of my? So I didn't go into the fear of the irritation. I went into why. So then I Googled, what are the healing aspects of basil? Inflammation. And that inflammation word, there was other things I'm going to look up too, but inflammation was the word that kind of went out at me in the wording. And so looking at my irritation, instead of going, oh, I can't be around basil anymore, I have to watch what I eat with basil in it, I looked at, why am I irritated? Why am I in discomfort? Where is this disharmony in her body? Every part of the body has a story. Like the liver is about emotions. The gallbladder is about the deeper emotions. The spleen is about this and that. The knees are about moving forward. The thyroid is about processing. So looking at
let me ask you before I forget, what's the stomach about? People
digesting life.
Is
it's
what?
That first digestion of life. It's about the first, can I digest, because the colon is about the really deep down digestion, but the stomach is the first layer of digestion. And can I digest that? Let's say, like when I was abused, sexually when I was younger, could I digest that this person was so out of sorts in him that he had to do something towards me? And and it's not about forgiveness, but it's about boundaries, and it's about saying, this is not going to happen to me anymore. But that's part is that not going to control me anymore. And so when we're digesting our life, that when, how many times did she in her life kind of go, well, I'm not going to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. That's too stressful for me. This is too big. I can't deal with this anymore. And when you start doing that, instead of saying, like, one of my mantras that I use is, I'm digesting my life. 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 So that when I'm going through my life stressors, that I'm digesting my life. And that's helping move it through, because my dad had colon cancer. I'm free from that story. And so when was the last time that somebody with a part of their body struggling with it, that they said, I love you and thank you for struggling through life with me? I'm sorry that we struggled. I'm sorry that we have our past stories. I'm so much loving you. Thank you for giving me the balance and the boundaries. And I'm sorry I didn't listen.
So in other words, she could talk to her stomach, right?
Oh, I would even talk to the part that goes right into the stomach too. And one thing that I do energetically is I go, I'm digesting my life. 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 So
yeah, it comes in and goes out all the way down.
What comes in goes out. And when I'm going out, when I'm peeing or I'm doing the other thing, I'm saying, thank you for releasing. Thank you for cleaning out what the toxins and everything that I needed to clean out.
Yeah. So do you think it would help her to, because I hadn't thought of this before, is detoxing herself from heavy metals too?
Yeah.
Okay, because she could get some supplements, I think, that would get her
Yeah,
started.
but be careful, be careful. One detox at a time.
Okay.
One detox at a time. We can
All right.
go on too much and the body is like, wait a minute, I'm still struggling. But that's the thing is that a disharmony in the body, and people have said cancer is negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's a teller. And it could be a teller of death too. I mean, it's not necessarily, it's a teller of a lot of things, but it's really ultimately, why did I get cancer there? So I would really, if I was her, I would really go into research. What does the stomach metaphorically um, uh,
So
translate to?
have
What
her
is,
go through her life and think, what things has she not digested?
mm-hmm.
You know, what
And then also too, what is the food that she kept eating that her body kept telling her not to?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you see the one thing too that she would love is to really be in a relationship with someone who really sees her, just like you experienced with your husband finally there. Do you have any sense of if that's a possibility in this lifetime, or is she gonna?
It's loving herself first.
Okay,
It's loving herself first.
all right. And if she does that, then her vibration could change to attract somebody.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Oh,
the thing is my husband was mirroring how I valued myself, even though he had his own story to work through. Does that
yeah.
make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He had his own story to work through. He had his own experiences to work through, but he was mirroring for me what I needed to work through. But once I started
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Oh, he's my greatest naysayer. Thank you for being my naysayer." Because every time you naysay me, I make sure that I want to do it or not. It's my teller. Should I do my thing or not? Like he would tell me my intuitive business wasn't a business. Okay, fine. It's not a business. So I'll treat it as a business more now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do I truly want to do in my life? Because he was my naysayer. So we all have naysayers in our life.
Yeah.
We all, and we even are our own naysayer. So,
Yeah.
what is the naysayer in ourselves teaching us, showing us that we need to work on and to value more?
Yeah. Wow, that's good. Well, this really ties in today. Well, about why do some people have more difficult times than others, and what you're today we're discussing is it's about learning. It's about. I mean, either it's illnesses or these roadblocks or things are like roadblock is a naysayer, right? Or it's just that you
Mhm.
can't come through here, you know that you have to go through, and the learning comes into navigating through or around these roadblocks, and a lot of it has to do with self-love, doesn't it?
Oh,
um,
99% of the time it is about self-love.
oh, and she's hearing me now too when I do this. It's an exercise I think I may have given her at one point, but I just thought of it, and somebody actually scientifically proved. I saw it on YouTube where they showed the change in the body chemistry and everything when somebody did the I love you exercise, where they look into the mirror and with all the gusto that they can to look into their eyes and just say, I love you, I love you, I love you. You're perfectly imperfect, and I love you with all. I don't care what you've ever done before. I love you. And
Mhm.
we found out in hypnotherapy school that see, when you're looking in the mirror and your eyes are seeing another person in the mirror, which is you, and you're looking at that person with feeling and saying you love that image that you're looking at, you love that person. The first thing the brain goes is, wait a minute, I thought we hated that person, and that person that did all those wrong things and stuff. And you're looking and saying that if you do that for an exercise for a few weeks, then all of a sudden, when you see that image in the mirror, your subconscious goes, oh, that's someone we love. Okay. And it starts acting appropriately,
Mhm.
that way. And I did that exercise personally years ago. And I just thought, well, this is stupid. But at first it was hard for me to look at myself in the eye, even, because of some of
It
the
is
stuff.
for a lot of people.
Yeah, but eventually I could. And so then I would try to get up the gusto and say, I love you, Regan. Oh, okay. Yeah, I love you, man. You're cool and stuff. So here I am. I'm in a restaurant with my wife one time. I go into the men's room And I turn around, there's a guy, and I go, hey, like it's a friend of mine. And then I realized I was looking at myself in the mirror. And I realized that, my subconscious, when I saw that image of that guy in the mirror, it was like a friend or somebody. And immediately, hey, how you doing? And it was me, So then I realized that my subconscious now was in the program with me. It was when it sees an image of me now, it's somebody that I care about, So somebody on the internet said when they did this exercise and they measured, however they did it with brain waves or take a picture of the brain, and they saw that when people do that, that it actually has this beneficial physiological effect on their whole body.
It does.
Yeah. Just like if your best friend, you're busy, you're all grumpy and stuff, and there's a doorknob and you open the door and there's your best friend. And immediately, whoa, hi, hug, it's like how your mood can change when you're with someone who you really care about. So we have to start
Exactly. So, but that's the thing now. Take that a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Take that a little bit deeper. When was the last time that somebody went into a place in their body that ached? Now, like for me, I was talking about my liver aching a little bit. I had peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I usually don't eat bread that often. But so my liver is now an hour later going, you kind of did something that we normally don't do. Right? So am I going, oh, liver, you're hurting. Why are you hurting? No, what I'm doing is as I'm going into my liver and all those places that are saying, I'm struggling digesting that. I'm struggling processing that. And I'm going in and giving it love, appreciation. Thank you for going through the struggle. So, like Mary, who you were talking about, and you did label that she had cancer. When was the last time that she went and said to that liver cell, thank you for telling me that there was a disharmony in my body so I can fix you? And then ask a good cell to come and give it a hug.
And just picture it however you picture a cell.
Exactly. And then picture the good cell maybe saying thank you for being here, and then letting that cell that is in disharmony. Some people call it cancer, some people call it not digesting well, some people call it other things, right? Take the charge out of the word, bring it down into, okay, I'm asking for harmony in this place. Sorry about that. Regan was having problems, and so going into this, he'll pop back on. But, going back down into this, and I'll finish the story when he is, but go in, and when was the last time that you actually asked these parts of you that are in disharmony, go in and ask that cell to heal itself? When was the last time that you went into your digestive system and asked the flora, the gut flora, to say, I can dance, I can be energized? When was the last time that you rubbed your tummy and said thank you? There's these things that we are in disharmony about. When my husband would be mad at me, or I would be mad at him, or I would be frustrated at somebody who drove across the road in front of me, or I was frustrated with my cat or my dog or somebody, right? That when was the last time you went in with it and said, oh, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your journey. I appreciate what you've been. I appreciate what you're teaching me right now. And that's the thing. That's the difference is that when we get past reactionary and into interaction, that many a times we find how to negotiate through a lot of our troubles. Our troubles are more troubles because we add our energy to them. We add more negative thought to them. And I can tell you, I've done that. I've done that. Why is he doing this to me? Why is that happening to me? Why is that happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is that happening to me? Instead of asking, thank you for happening for me. And that's one thing that I've started doing. Thank you for happening for me so I can learn to do this a little bit better. we're all in a different place to where we can negotiate. And troubles are as only because we choose to have them. Now, there's some things that, yes, are real, like when we get into a cancer, or we get into a car wreck, or we get into these other things that happen around us. There are things that happen to us that are not happy and that are not good. But what do we do while we're having them? What do we do as we negotiate through them? And that's the difference. Because I know for me, got hair in my mouth, sorry. Let's say when somebody's in disharmony with me, the first thing I do is I ask for divine healing on this. And then I ask for, hi, and then I ask for wisdom to come. Or I ask somebody to help me with healing on this. Because we're all into a place in life where we're going to have things that are negative that happen to us. But at the same time, though, how can we in ourselves find blessings through that journey? I know for me, when I've had cysts, I had cysts in my ovaries and in my breasts. I found my first lump in my breast when I was 19, I think. Instead of deeming them bad, I would say, I love you, 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 I love you. And even I did that when I was younger. So I knew there was a part of me that knew how to work through that struggle. And hi, Regan again.
Was I off your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, because you were just frozen on mine, so I was giving everybody. I don't know which, if they probably got yours rather than mine, but I was giving a pitch for you about you helping me on so many things and just filling in the dead space, and then I clicked out and came back in again.
Yeah. So no, you've been freezing off and on a little bit. So I think that you're
probably my internet.
Yeah, but you said you've had internet problems in your house, so I was not judging it. It was just a thing. We could hear you fine. We could hear you fine, but sometimes you weren't talking at the same time you were talking.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm seeing myself okay, but anyway.
Yeah,
right.
I hear you.
All right, so
but
anyway.
Going back to where you jumped off was when I was talking about going into those cells.
Oh yeah,
going into those molecules. Going into those atoms, going into that tissue, going into those really deep, deep, deep places and saying, I love you. And then knowing that we are light. We are light workers. We're all light workers. We all have light in us.
Yeah.
Right. So if we go in with that light, which we're all angels too, if we go into that light, into that spot, bring in the angel healing to that spot, do a laser zap of love to that spot with our imagery, right or wrong. We don't know truly what our makeup is, right? But we can go in and have these understandings. And that's what I say, known or unknown, heard or unheard, witnessed and unwitnessed, experienced and unexperienced. Let all that I have an understanding of and don't have an understanding of come in and do healing where we're at.
Yeah. That's good. Well, see, I think that's helping her because it'll help take her to even a little deeper level because she's tried to do as much as she can with changing her attitude about life and everything, about looking at it as an opportunity to learn, in other words, not a punishment of some sort, but just rebalancing, a way of really waking her up spiritually that way. So
We have to go past the skin. We have to go past the skin.
Yeah.
We have to go into the blood and the gut of our life to really sometimes get in there and hug it.
Yeah.
If we hug ourselves, when was the last time we actually hugged ourselves?
Yeah. Well, actually the havening, that's what she's learned, touch. Yeah. Anybody watching now, go to havening, HAVENING touch.org, haveningtouch.org, and you'll find the new thing sweeping the world right now. And that's how to balance emotions and everything. It's like self-hugging. You know, we have
Mm-hmm.
3 things that you do, and they have about 15 videos up on there. Even a scientist talking about how it helps rewire broken neural pathways in your brain. It's
Okay.
really good.
So my cat, who's a familiar, got up on a
Yeah.
shelf, and the thing that he was getting up towards was my crystals.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful crystal.
Isn't that beautiful?
That
I
is
got
beautiful.
this from a friend who passed away.
Wow.
And there's a dragon inside of it. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can see the dragon, but there's a dragon.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going into this and remembering that
What is it?
that we have help who can help us, but we have to go beyond our belief system. So going into this, crystals, and was it Elvira, this I wish I would have known you when you I wish I had known this when you
I wish I had known this when
you're
you
younger. But yeah, I get it. So going into this, crystals, oh my gosh. I do castor oil at night. I lay castor oil on. You can use packs. Do that. Onions are another thing that Barbara O'Neill, if you look up her remedies,
I
there's
Barbara O'Neill. Yeah, I see her on the internet all the time.
yeah, she is tremendous in just staying very neutral. Like she says, I don't acknowledge that any one thing will do it, but it's a mindset. She's very much into mindset. Like she says that, my family has a story of achy joints, so I just do these things to help my achy do the achy joints. I know that can be a tendency, but I'm not going to be doing it. But crystals really can labradorite. So labradorite.
Yep. So is that a crystal, a black crystal in your right hand, or that's a different kind of
That's labradorite.
labradorite? How spell that?
Labradorite. Yeah, and actually, what is the card that I got?
Oh,
It's labradorite.
it's
That's
labradorite.
funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Huh.
You can't make that up.
So how do you spell labradorite?
It's LABRADORITE.
Okay, labradorite, and it's a stone. So in other words, it's like a crystal but different.
Yes. So
if somebody has labradorite, I mean, how do they use it on themselves? Or do they have to wear some, or do they just have it in the room with them, or do they put it on?
they can wear some. They can go in and lay it on them. They can go in and lay it on. Like I have Mother Mary statue. And I'm asking her to help me out with my liver.
For Mother Mary?
Mother Mary.
Oh my gosh. So that's a Mother Mary statue made out of that stone.
Out of labradorite.
How cool is that? It looked to me like
then yeah. I had pulled up the card, and it was labradorite was the first card on it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So there might be some labradorite messages for, look up at labradorite, Google labradorite, and see what that can be for maybe for her. See if that's maybe that's something.
Okay. Again,
with the full moon tomorrow, that's a good crystal to use. Oh, yeah, tomorrow's a full moon. So, tomorrow's a full. Thank you, Dupure. Thank you. Yeah. So Dupure says the full moon tomorrow. Hallelujah. Thank you. Oh, what is a good crystal to use? I'm not stuck on one. I go to whatever one. I walk by my house and one yells at me and I come out. Just like this was a story here, that labradorite. A lot of people don't like labradorite. I love labradorite.
Well, now, spell that one more time, please. It was LA, like BR.
Okay, so it's LABRADORITE.
Okay. I'll look that up afterwards.
But a lot of times the yeah, it just went out of my head.
I have something here that looks like that. Hang on a second.
But going into it, just use the crystals that are calling to you. There's some crystals that are more home to some people and not to home. That is jasper.
Oh, that's jasper. That's so cool how you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, different stones will have a different appearance. And I've worked with stones enough. Moonstone, that's the one I was looking for. Moonstone's a big one. But when we're doing a ritual for, we're coming up on 5 o'clock. Sorry, guys, I'm going over just a few minutes here. That a good way to do contracts when we're with a full moon is I am this or something better for me, and write your full name, even if it's my full name, middle name, last name, maiden name, and your name. This or something better as soon as possible in divine timing and human timing. And then somewhere on the top, write up the date. And then I am done. I am done with ... I am done with the story of cancer. I am receiving healing on any part of me that has cancering ideas.
Yeah.
I am done with dis-ease, separate the word, dis-ease in my knowings. I am receiving harmony and peace and tranquility in my life.
Okay. Oh, and now, since you put these up on the internet, if she wants to listen to this again, because there's a lot of information here, how soon before you have it up on YouTube?
It's up now.
Oh, it is now? Okay.
As soon as I get done with this show, it will be up.
Oh, super. That's great.
Yeah. So
Boy,
so this is one of
you've
those
come
things.
so far, Natasha.
What's that?
Now I'm wondering, I see me, but you're so.
That's okay. So going into this, yes, this is a great time for manifesting. You can do this with technology. You can do this with money. You can do. I am done with the disharmony of money. I am receiving the frequency of the currency of money. It's like, you can do it with anything. I've done this with technology. I've done this with my self-esteem. I've done this with money. I've done this with my partnership with my husband. Actually, I did this with I'm done with a man that has found that is in disharmony with himself. I'm receiving a man in my life that has harmony in himself. I am done with a man who dislikes himself. I'm receiving a man who's finding love for himself. Because finding love with oneself is a journey. It's not a destination. Yeah. It's a journey, know? And I did that. And within 3 months, he got pulled over by 2 cops and decided to get sober.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure, wow. So we have to just be proactive with all these things, not just curl up and cry, right?
It's okay if you do curl up and cry.
Yeah. Okay.
But don't stay there. Don't stay there.
Yeah.
Let that emotion be heard. Let that. There's sometimes where, like, I've told a coworker, right now my Natasha wants to throw a tantrum. She's going to throw a good tantrum, and I'm going to keep it inside me as much as I can. Right? I'm throwing a tantrum right now. I don't like what I heard, and I'm going to throw a tantrum about it. And I gave her about 6 minutes to throw her tantrum.
Yeah.
And then she had to start finding understanding.
Yeah.
It's okay to have these emotions, but what do we do with them, and how do we respect them, and how do we move them through so that we can become our better self?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then again, now, if she wants to look at this, she would go to Natasha Venter, or to intuitive clarifications?
You can go do either one. Natasha Venter, Intuitive Clarifications, Natasha Venter, YouTube, Natasha Venter, IC. You can find me pretty much anywhere.
Thank you, Natasha, for your selflessness and helping another soul today. It's good to get, we're trying to hit this from all perspectives, you know, and I know
in just an hour.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's great. It's great. We really appreciate that. So I'll have her do that and stuff. So should I tell people how to get a hold of me one more time?
Sure.
Or did you have something else to add before we close?
Well, I just want people to know that, like I told a student today who is having a really rough time. He has come from his life didn't know better to do better, right? For story of families,
Yeah,
that's the story. We don't know better to do better.
I like that
And
saying.
like I told him, I said, you're a great kid who's made poor choices. Sometimes we make poor choices in life. Then we learn we can do different. But how do we negotiate those parts of us that we did do poor choices with? We
Yeah,
love it. We give it grace. We give it understanding. We were young once. We had these moments once, and giving an example of, when was the last time that you stubbed a toe and said, I'm sorry, I love you,
uh-huh.
instead of saying, chair, why did you get in the way? Toe, why did you get hit? It's like, try to love yourself through more of your troubles, and you'll find that things will change around you. Your life will change if you change your perceptions and your concepts. From struggle, me and the basil, there was struggle there. I
Yeah.
Googled why the struggle would be there. Oh, inflammation. I have inflammation in my body that wanted to move out. I get why there's struggle now.
Mm-hmm.
So ask why, ask how. And if you need if you would like a little bit more private session about this, then you can reach me at intuitiveclarifications.com. So Regan, you do magical work too. I love the work that you're doing. You are, oh my gosh, you are a miracle maker. How
Well,
can people reach you?
they get hold of me. It's right there on the screen. Visit theafterlife.com. Just go there and watch the videos, and you'll explain about how anybody can now visit the afterlife for a few hours, like having a near-death experience, but without the death part, and also about past life regression and then traditional therapy. So many of us forget that, that we have what's happened to us in this lifetime that's, hard on our backs.
So you can reach Regan at
California, people in person in the San Francisco area, but also in Los Angeles, Sacramento area, or anything in between. So I'm planning another LA trip on January. Going to have half a dozen people to see down there for a week, and then come back up here. So, and then you do most of yours on Zoom, right? Or
on Zoom. I've done I did a personal reading in person because she lives local here. So on phone, I do pretty much in any way that it works for that other person. I'm going to be at Kent Commons this weekend. So that will be fun to do some readings in person.
Yeah. The thing that's blown my mind about this Zoom thing, it seems to be a real godsend too, because as we are finding out that, we think of being physical, we have to be in the proximity, but because we're everywhere, in a sense, our energy was that, it doesn't matter whether I'm sitting right next to someone or if they're 5,000 miles away, we're energetically connected and can do the work. Isn't that great? Yeah.
Our souls are a lot like Mother Mary and Jesus's and
Yeah.
Archangel Michael's. We can move around. We can send our energy. We can send the love. We can, love is actually already there. We just are the human form. So
Funny, Archangel Michael has been showing up frequently in my sessions lately. So he's busy right now. I'm sure he's always been busy, but he's I've had, I think, 3 people in the last month or so, and he's just shown up, and
Mhm.
he was sometimes in conjunction with other guides. Like he was
Mhm.
there, he was like like a manager, and then he would get my people with their other guides,
Mhm.
showing that's quite a soul, Michael Archangel,
Exactly, and Mary,
and Mary.
um,
Oh,
Mary could bring in Raphael, Archangel Raphael.
I've had Archangel Raphael was in one of my client sessions too. So
Yeah, he's an angel of healing. Chamarel wants to help her out. Who else? Mary wants to help her out. Mother
oh,
Mary wants to help her
talk
out. And
my
it's not attached to any belief system.
yeah,
These beings are not attached to any belief system. They're deities. They are guides. They are energy that want to come and assist us humans through our life's journey. I don't do my life alone. I
yeah,
do not do my life alone.
yeah,
I have help left, right, and up and down and center, and we need to be willing to receive the help. And that's another thing that Mary might want to go into is that, like me saying to my husband, I don't know if I can receive that.
yeah,
How much help can she truly receive?
yeah.
The fullity up into the atoms of her body. How
Hmm.
can she receive that trust and that value?
Hmm. And feeling
And that's
worthy.
what we're being asked to do right now.
So you said that some of the angels you're catching that want to work with, there's Mother Mary, and who else? Was it Raphael?
Raphael, Jesus, and Chamarel.
Now that I've not heard of Chamarel. It's Archangel.
Yeah, he helps endings with new beginnings. He helps through transformations.
How would you spell Chamarel? Like it
C
sounds.
H A M Chamail.
Okay, Chamarel. Okay. Okay, because I'm going to do another Life Between Life session with her in about a month, where she goes back to the other side again, because it's been almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll see if we can call on some of these angels here and see if we can get more information. You've been amazing today. Just tell
Thank
people you
you.
need some help. Give her a holler, and she'll help you out. And I'm going to get going now, because I've got to attend to Mary here and get her off the Monocore treatment. Oh, and also people look up, it's Monocore, MONICOR USA.com. It's this new healing help to heal device that's being allowed into people's homes now, instead of just, it's going into a lot of hospitals and things, but they're allowing it people to own it now. And it's got it's helps open up all of your passageways through different frequencies, so your body can heal itself. And
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing really good things happen with it. So the world is really getting better and better. As much as we think it's falling apart, it's kind of coming together at the same on the other end. Don't you see that? It's falling apart on one end, coming back together better. It's like we're breaking it down and building it back up for a better world.
Well, Pluto just came direct, and when Pluto's in retrograde, which it's been in retrograde for a while, it's about destruction to creation.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, like you gotta break something all the way down to completely rebuild it. Hmm.
Exactly. And then Jupiter just went into retrograde, and that's about rebuild. It's the rethinking of our stories.
Okay. Well, that's great. Good
So
stuff.
her having cancer is a great time to rethink her story,
Yeah. Good thinking.
because
Okay.
it's becoming the new normal.
Yeah.
It's about becoming the new normal. We do not go, you know, we cannot really go back to who we were, but we can become who we're meant to be, which is a part of who we were.
Yeah.
But it's a new lighter in embraced self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Try
That's
loving ourselves a little bit more.
okay. She thanks
Okay.
you.
And
And
Kelly, thank you very much for saying what you did. She is amazing. Yes, everybody is amazing. So
yeah, thank everybody for
I'm
watching.
thank you for being here on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Pacific time. If you're looking for more inspirational little videos, I have like over 900 short videos on my YouTube channel.
How do you do it? You're being a
I
light.
post every day on social media,
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
but they're only like 1 minute, 2 minute videos. So they're not very long. They're just
Yeah, little inspirational things. I know I've seen a bunch of them, and they're great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All right.
my love is with everyone.
Next month, I'll see you.
Yep.
Oh, I might be in Barcelona then. I'm not sure, but I'll let you know.
Okay, just a second. I'm going to get off here. Just 1 second. Can you wait 1 second? Thank you, everyone, for being here. I know this was a quick zip show. If you're looking for more information, go back and watch. Share this with somebody. Please like and follow, and know that you are divinely given the right to be here on this planet. Trust that and believe it. I'm Natasha Venter, intuitiveclarifications.com. Bye.
She disappeared, but she wanted to talk to me for a minute.
Yeah,
There she is.
I did. I clicked out and end stream.